For me, it came quite inherently because Ade was a boy I knew growing up, and I wrote this film when I was in film school in London in the UK, and I guess when I was there, and I've been away from home for a while, and that was, and I was missing home, and I felt like I needed to write something that was representative of where I come from. And so when I was thinking of different ideas and characters, Ade, who was a boy I knew growing up, was very. I think it was very clear that he was a very interesting character, and something needed to be sort of created that surrounding the character. And when it's Nagaland is from the northeast of India, where a lot of people have never heard of, but it's also it's a place that is very vibrant, and especially during the weekends, it's either church or just fun on Sundays, especially. And yeah, we that was an activity we used to do. We would sometimes run away from church and then go and swim. And so that I think the idea came very sort of inherently from the childhood that I lived.
For us, the idea of the film came after a very long time. We basically wanted to do when I was researching about the village, I wanted to do a journalistic piece on it. Which I did, but it didn't get published. But then we researched more about it, and we found that there are many issues in the village. For example, there's this issue that there's this chairperson in the village who has been struggling to to make a school solely for the population of deaf and dumb people there, but he's struggling to do so. Uh, and there are many other issues like the people there, they can't migrate, the people who are deaf and mute, because it's tough to work in other villages. So if they stay in their villages, they work there only. But then we realized that we kind of realized that we want to make a film which should feel like a poem rather than a documentary film. It should rather be a poem, and that's how we got this idea. We came about this idea. You would like to say? Yeah. Hi, thank you for coming and watching our film. So I would like to add to his answer. So this village, it's actually very nearby to where we live. It's actually, we are on this side of the mountain range and it's on this side of the mountain range. And while there have been many journalistic pieces on it, and I think some news documentaries, I don't know about that, we wanted to make a film that would, represent them, represent the people, represent their village a bit more correctly, I would say. So that was the idea behind our film. Also, because the media people, they often come to the village and they ask the villagers for their input. They ask them to perform in their own sign language so that they can take pictures, they can take videos. And scientists as well come, they take their blood samples for research and everything. So the villagers are very disturbed by this thought. And we wanted to make a film by staying very, very, very far from the villagers so that we don't disturb them. So that is how we came with this. But yeah, they have still been very kind people to us. True. True, true, very true.
Theja,
Yes.
Shadab, beautiful films, beautiful. Theja, I have a question for you. 16 child actors, how has that experience been?
Um, I think because we gave them beat sheets instead of scripts. Most people in the film can't read, so there was no point giving them scripts. But we sort of knew, we gave them basically keywords on, where you're talking about this particular topic, or we knew where the scene was going to go at least. So most of it was largely improvised. Shooting it on film was because I grew up in the early 2000s, and this film is very close to my heart, and I wanted the image to almost sort of replicate the images that I have in the photo album. So it's it's kind of that nostalgia, and that's why we decided to shoot it on 16 mil. It was fun, working with kids, especially. So actually, the thing is, we sort of cheated a bit. You see it in the film where one of them smokes a cigarette, and of course, I can't really have a minor smoking a cigarette. So our way of getting it around it was we casted this particular. So the boy who smokes in the film is actually 44 years old. And so but it was incredible to have him because he was a much more mature, he was a mature man, and he was also dealing with this 8 or 9 year, the other boy who's 8 or 9. But I needed a character who needed to smoke, and this 44-year-old man was someone I've known my whole life. And so I thought, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity to sort of be able to use him and also make him smoke, and then still, capture it on camera and without getting on the wrong side of the law. So, but yeah, it's great.
Our question for Shadab and Sahib as well. So you've used a lot of long shots of people walking. What was something on your mind?
We basically wanted to show the village life, and we really wanted to be far, far away from the villages, as I said, because we never wanted to cross the boundaries which the people already have. So we tried to do like, we tried to stay away from the villages, we tried to be as far as we can, and we shot them from there only. So that is why there are long shots and there are shots which are very long.
Yeah, I would like to add to that actually. So the idea behind the film is not just about the subjects, it's also about the village. So when you go to the village, the life there, you can't even imagine how slow it is. So the idea behind the film was to also transcend the audience to that village and to that place. So we use those specific, carefully composed shots, and we extended them so that you could take it in and transcend there.
Also, we would, if we would have used the sign languages, people communicating in sign languages, it would have somehow complicated the village as something as other. We never wanted to do that. It's basically it's like every other village. People love there, people romance, people have kids, people eat, people laugh, people love. So the idea was to not do the other
Stereotyping.
It did not affect. I mean, yes, it affected in a way that it made us aware that we should not cross the boundaries. We should stay as far as we can. But other than that, we basically the villagers are very welcoming. All of them are very welcoming. They made us eat a lot. They really made us eat a lot. I mean, yeah, it kind of felt like a responsibility. And also why we kept it silent is because most of the guy is silent. There's no point of feeling dialogues in a film which is about the people who are there and not. So yeah. And yes, so Aparna here is she's the executive producer of the film, and it's through her that we got to come.
I have one question as well. Have you shown it to the people of
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
What was their reaction?
They said it's a nice video. It's not a film, it's a nice video. But they loved it. They loved it.
What happens to the kid?
Normal. He's born normal.
Oh,
But yes, some months back he had something growing in his throat, and then he was taken to a hospital. Then it was a tumor, but then it was okay.
So, what is the explanation for that? Why that village is going through that?
Scientists say that the villagers they have been married in their own clans since 1901, and that is the reason. But people there they have said that they have married their children to other clans as well. But the same problem is happening. So there's this it's still a mystery, but it's the idea behind it. But yes, scientists say that it's because they married in their own clan.
I also have a question. Same, or was there a little bit also some hope at the end with the whistling? So how
Mhm.
where do you want us to, what do you want us to take from it?
I think you can take whatever you want from the film, but of course, there's a vicious cyclical nature of how these things work. One influences the other, and I think for me, when the fight was happening between the parents, that's why it was very important to stay with the kid, because I'm more interested in the repercussions of something rather than the drama that surrounds it. And I wanted to sort of basically capture something where, without moving the camera, we wanted to sort of peel layers. We wanted to show that there's more. And so instead of moving the camera, we decided to move the character out. So when the boy is taken out, then you see the younger brother is also behind, and it's also part of that domino effect in that sense. And so, it very much focuses on the influences we have on the generation. It's a cyclical nature, especially with addiction, and that's something that's very prevalent back home as well. It's we're a society that's changing very rapidly. We're almost sort of lost in transition in that sense. So everything has happened very, very rapidly in the last 100 years for our people, and we're still trying to sort of find a footing in the very fast-changing world. And there's so many challenges that come along with it, and addiction is unfortunately one of them.
And I also wonder, and I back to you because you show your public film here in Europe, and when it's like violence, like children's violence is perceived in a different way.
Yeah.
What was the reaction,
I think it's been, for me, the whole violence thing was like, I knew, that's the harsh realities of the world we come from, so I wasn't too worried about it. What the scene that actually bothered me initially, and not, for me, coming from that culture, from that sort of environment, I knew people back home were never going to perceive it anyway, but I was worried about how the Western audience would take when the neighbor comes in and then says, let him come and sort of sleep over in my house. I thought, I was afraid that was going to be taken out of context, but for us, where we're from in a small town, whether you're a kid, boy, girl, neighbors are part of the family, and so we're so sort of integrated in that sense. So rather than the violence, that bit where this well-intending neighbor coming to call the boy to come and stay in the house that was what I was afraid was going to be taken out of context. But I showed it to a couple of friends of mine in film school, and they didn't mind. So I thought, okay.
And there was also, for instance, the mother's role. I mean, she's clearly not happy with the husband being drunk, but she's the one brewing the alcohol. And is that also part of the tradition? Because rice.
Yeah, it very much is part of the tradition, and even the topics surrounding alcohol is very sort of complex and nuanced in a way. Where, as you can see from the film, where our society is very Christian, very Baptist. We're the most baptized state in the world, more than Mississippi. I don't know why I keep using that as an example, but alcohol has been a very strong part of our culture, and people still brew rice beer in that sense. But also, there's a lot of confusion around what is right, what is wrong, because the form of Christianity that we follow is the Puritan style of Christianity, and so alcohol, it's illegal. It's a dry state, but then it's an open secret as well, so no one really knows what exactly it is. But I think the taboo surrounding it is actually worse for the addiction in itself. And of course, there's a lot of mothers out there you'd find who sell rice beers in order to make ends meet.